not trying to ban any book, but do our libraries have Playboy in them? Our public school libraries?
Yeah.
And the answer is no, and it shouldn't. These books are as graphic as Playboy.
We have not parented the children in this country well, and we're all still really trying to wrap our head around it. Now, you pulled this poll we did first in 2022.
Hmm.
I didn't have much of a YouTube following back then, but we did it again this week. So you're out there doing the grinding and the hard work. But what we see perennially over and over again as pollsters is that we find stuff like this.
Yeah.
So tell everybody what we're looking at here.
Okay, so this is a poll from the American Library Association, which is not our friend and haven't been our friend for a long time if you're pro-family, Christian, any sort of conservative. And they're the ones that are pushing the agenda in schools with curriculum and books and our public libraries as well. And they always do polling, and I'm not sure which one this is, but the intent is always to make parents feel like they're the only one that is opposing this radical stuff going on in school districts. And it just isn't true. And again, because you did the poll, our polling finds that parents think they should be involved of what's going on in the public library and the curriculum, and that they oppose sexually explicit transgender ideology, kind of pornographic stories and books in school. And so the ALA keeps wanting to make people think. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been in an event and they're calling me a Nazi. I just like to go up to them and say, there's on our Instagram, we have one, and I think we have 4 parts of it where I just went up to her and said, okay, here's what I believe. And you say, if I believe that, I'm a Nazi. What's Nazi about that? And this young gal couldn't really answer anything. I've gone up to a gal in the Capitol in Sacramento where she said, read banned books. So I went up to her and said, well, could you give me a book that I can go read that's been banned, and how do I get it if it's been banned? And so it was.
You should have said, how about Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn?
Well, I mean, yes, and I know that whole, but she apparently knew who I was because she said, well, you want to do it. And I'm like, no, I don't. But again, I want to go read these books. You're talking about the right side banning it. And how on earth do I get a hold of it? Because I go on Amazon and I can get all these books. And so, but they want to shame parents into really parenting. And parents should be paying attention to what's going on in their schools, their libraries, and reassert themselves. You're the parent. God has given those children to you. If and when you turn it over to someone else, you are still responsible for that child.
Exactly, 100%. And again, I think we'll find that this is what happened with the alleged killer in the Charlie Kirk situation. Great family. It looks like they did everything right.
Yep.
And yet, if you have your kid into these like gateway drugs, into degeneracy, I did a big video on Reddit, and kids will go on there because it's like, well, the largest community for Pokemon card trading in the world is on Reddit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but if you're on there without an age filter, or you go into some of the other subreddits, all of a sudden you're in the Ask Transgender subreddit, and a 40-year-old stranger is transing your kid. And so and these are the same kind of people that overwhelmingly, I think we're going to find out, are in positions of high trust, like teachers. And now I just looked at some of these before, and I can tell you, everybody watching this, my audience knows polling, and this is disingenuous the way they phrase this. Look, it's more than 7 in 10 voters oppose efforts to remove books from public libraries, with majorities of voters across all party lines opposed. Well, they say, well, okay, what they do is they say, well, are you in favor of banning things? Well,
Yeah.
first off, Americans aren't going to be as in favor of banning things. And second off, they use public library, and then they'll say, oh, well, look, people don't want these books banned. Well, it's like, no, what the real problem is that kids are being exposed to stuff, and we don't want them exposed to stuff. And that's the polling you did. So I want to bring up, first off,
But and you can talk to the polling a little bit more of how, what the ALA does and the tricks in their questions, and why yours is, and which is why we go to you, is legitimate and well respected. And these, again, I'm not trying to ban any book, but do our libraries have Playboy in them? Our public school libraries?
Yeah.
And the answer is no, and it shouldn't. These books are as graphic as Playboy. So I'd like to see the ALA ask that question. Should Playboy
Right.
be in public schools and in the youth section at public libraries?
Yeah, no, and they're going to use the tricks. Well, some parents find some things offensive. You're not one of those parents that finds things offensive, are you? Because you wouldn't want to support banning. That's bad. And I guarantee you that there's questions they ask that we didn't even see. And so they come up with this push poll.
Yeah.
And I'm asking Grok too. I don't even know if the ALA got USAID or dark money leftist NGO funding. I'm sure they probably did.
Do you know, just this weekend, I have someone looking into that.
Let's see. The ALA participated in a 2-year grant partnership with Global Learning Inc. called Libraries Build Sustainable Communities, which was funded by USAID, according to Grok.
That's us. That's we, the people.
Yeah. So we, the people, are paying for push polls to oppose banning books in libraries when really the issue is kids that shouldn't be exposed to sexual degeneracy at the tender age of 8. Tricky situation. Now, you've shown this to me, and I'm not going to hit play here, but this is an Instagram video, and tell everybody what this is going to have.
Okay, so this is a book called Trans Plus, and at the end of every chapter, and this we uncovered like 4 years ago, this actually at the end of every chapter has a QR code. So the students can go to a website that was created directly to go with this book from Planned Parenthood. And there's really explicit stuff in this. So on one of those, and our video does show it, it is very, very graphic. You click on it, and as it takes you to different articles and you click on those articles, you have to show that you're 18. I'd like it to, I mean, honestly, it's beyond even an adult wanting to watch what I sent you. And I warn everyone, it's very, very graphic, but this is a book in high schools all over. It also, there's other ones that we didn't cover in this video about, where you can go to get binding done, where you don't tell your parents. And the binding, for those of you who don't know, is a way for females who want to be or think they want to be a male to start wrapping their breasts. And so and how to do it without parents knowing, what kind of clinic you can go to where you can get help paying for anything you want to do. I mean, this book it should not be for minors, but our schools and our public libraries have them all over, and they're using our tax dollars to purchase them.
Yep. Everything we trust has been subverted, basically. Yep. I was wrapping my head around this. I'm sure you've heard about it, but the Gallup, according to their ongoing poll, has shown that 18 to 29-year-olds, 23% of them now identify as one form or another of LGBTQ, IA++, whatever, stuff.
Yep.
And that's bad.
Well, and this really, it's funny because especially with Charlie, everyone's talking about college, but the indoctrination starts way, way before that. So for instance, and that's why I got into this, because I used to be a mom. I was an activist, I run a public policy organization, work on legislation. I would kind of poo-poo the moms that did the books in the library. I thought, oh, who cares? One book, my kid's not going to read it, until I saw how deep and wide it was. And then I became passionate about stopping it. We are doing the grooming for the traffickers starting in kindergarten. And the example I want to use, and it's a book on our website called The Big Bathhouse. And it's a picture book. The left will say it's all about it's Asian culture. But an American 5-year-old looks at that, and all you see are a bunch of adults and kids bathing and washing each other in a big pool. And so it's not telling the kindergartner, which is where this book usually is, anything about Asian culture. But the interesting thing is the author was in an interview where he talked about hoping the purpose of this book, and that explains why the characters are so, you can't tell if they're a guy or a girl, to help push the transgender movement forward. And so he's on tape saying that was the intent. And when you look at that book, you won't be able to see tell really because in the Asian culture, grandparents, grandmothers, it's all a grandmothers, mothers, all bathe. It is culturally appropriate for them. But what an American child sees is a bunch of naked adults, because you can't tell if it's a guy or a girl or a grandma, in a big pool naked, rubbing each other's backs. And what does that say to a 5-year-old kindergartner in America?
Yeah. They have, again, I think, subverted literally everything they can, and not all of them. And people, this is a really tough situation that, again, I think we're only really trying to initially unwrap, because people will say things like, oh, it's Munchausen syndrome by proxy, or oh, it's like the groomer community. And no, there's a network of disseminating this information to children that uses churches now. I was raised a Methodist, and now the official United Methodist doctrine is accepting towards youth transgenderism, which absolutely blows my mind. And then, children, what happens is if they find out information, they share it. And so if
Yep.
there's one book, everybody's going to know about it. If there's a question about what this new trend is, everybody's going to ask about it. And they're going to find ways online, and maybe your kid doesn't, but your kid's friend does. And all of a sudden, you see stuff like this, which kind of blows my mind. I don't know if you're familiar with Reddit, but I
No,
talked
I
about it a
don't go
little bit
on there
before.
often, but
It's the 5th largest website in the
yeah.
US. And this is the Ask Transgender community. And I've been hitting this pretty hard. There are hundreds of thousands of members of this community. The transgender community on Reddit has 620,000 subscribers, larger than the actual Christianity subreddit. But look, how to help a woman, male to female classmate, feel comfortable around me. I'm a freshman and oh no, there's one where it's like, hey, I'm 15 and I'm trying to look more masculine and I'm closeted. My parents don't know. They're literally asking the internet. Okay, some of this stuff's not safe to put up. I'm just
It's
kidding.
kind of stuff I research, so I should probably go on there and do some research.
Well, this is the problem. And so, like, they hear the word transgender. And where did they hear that? Well, I don't know. Maybe from a classmate, maybe from a friend, maybe their teacher said that, or maybe they saw the book in the library. Maybe they're 11. And so if you Google, you're going to find the subreddit for transgender. And then you're going to hear about the subreddit for Ask Transgender. And then all of a sudden, you are having an anonymous discussion live with a community of 600,000 people in the transgender community. And this is how they disseminate information. And they have resources there. This is how you get your HRT. This is where you can go to if you want to run away from home, all kinds of stuff like that.
And you mentioned this, that there are a lot of groomers on there, and there are a lot of adults that are doing the chatting with minor children about this issue. And it's largely around how to get around your parents, and empowers these kids to, hey, this is your body, that, all of that. And it's just absolutely crazy.